Very good afternoon to all of you. I'm not a speaker, I'm not an expert, and I don't have a PowerPoint presentation, nor I have a written speech. But maybe that's an advantage because I don't have I don't have the compulsion to complete all my slides because I know we are running about an hour late. So I would be brief. I joined civil services, Indian Administrative Service, about 40 years back, 1985, so it's 40 years back. And that time we started talking of development. After some time we started talking of equitable development. We said that development without distributive justice is no development. And then came the sustainable development. And since sustainable development has been mainstream, everybody knows about SDs. It's a huge topic. So what I would do is, I would confine myself to one aspect of it relating to a sector where I spent more than 6 years. See, for an IAS officer in India, usually you don't get to spend more than 6 years in one sector. So I spent more than 6 years in a water sector, both in the state government and central government. So I would confine myself, as far as the sustainability aspect is concerned, is only that of water. Now we all know, right from childhood, we were taught, Jal hi Jeevan hai. We were told there is no life form possible on this earth without water. Water is the elixir of life. But today, when somebody talks of water, you don't think immediately in terms of water as a life giver. The thought which comes to your mind is water pollution, water stress, water scarcity. Everybody talks of how our per capita water consumption has been going down, even though I always feel that per capita water consumption is not very relevant in a country where 89% of water is utilized in the agriculture sector. When we talk of, I also when I started, I think when I became Secretary of Water Resources, most of my presentations also I used to show how India is a water stressed or a water scarce country. But then after some time I changed my views. I said, how can a country which gets more than 1,000 millimeter rainfall on an average can be a water scarce or water stressed country? Take the case of Israel. Israel doesn't get even 500 millimeter of rainfall. They also have these problems of seasonal variation, which is now accentuated by the climate changes, whether it's a spatial variation or the seasonal variation. In spite of that, we get more than 1,000 millimeter rainfall. My cadre was Odisha. And Odisha, we used to get something like 1,440 millimeter of rainfall every year. So how can a country which gets more than 1,000 millimeter rainfall could be a water-stressed country or water-scarce country? The real issue is not the water availability. The real issue is water management. How we manage our water. Like every other resource, water is also a finite resource. Of course, I will say it's a replenishable resource. Every year we get rainfall. Total rainfall hasn't changed much. Its distribution has changed, but if we really see, even after the climatic changes, the total rainfall has remained by and large in the same kind of a range. So, when we talk about water management, what has happened that we have been primarily talking of what is called a supply side management. We always, right from the time when Jawaharlal Nehru went to lay the foundation stone of Bhakra Nangal Dam and described it as temple of modern India, we have been talking only in terms of dams or the big dams. Of course, this is not a forum where we decide whether big dams are necessary or the dam is it should be the new slogan. But the fact remains that we always talked of only supply side management. And that too through a big structures. Of course, supply side, there is still a scope for supply side, but then paradigm shift should be from the big to small. Anyway, I am right now not going to talk much about that. I am talking of people haven't been talking of demand side management of water. Agriculture sector, as I told you, consumes almost 89% of water in India. And what is the water use efficiency in agriculture sector? It's not more than 35, 40%. That means we are utilizing 2.5 times to 3 times more water than actually we should be utilizing. I come from a village. In my childhood, one of my work used to be कि भाई खेत को पानी पटा के आओ. So हम खेत को पानी पटाते हैं, हम पौधे को पानी नहीं देते हैं, हम खेत को पानी देते हैं. And that too, I remember when we grow paddy, everybody says paddy is a water guzzler crop. I said no, paddy is not a water guzzler crop, it is a water tolerant crop actually. बट हम उसको इतना पानी पिलाते हैं कि जैसे हमें पानी ज़्यादा हो जाती है तो हमारी तबीयत खराब हो जाती है, तो हम पौधों को भी इतना पानी पिलाते हैं कि पौधों की तबीयत भी खराब हो जाती है. And one of the reasons our low productivity is that we kind of over irrigate where the irrigation is possible. तो ये बातें जो हम sustainable development, we keep talking of sustainable development, but in government, I would basically talking from the government point of view, being a civil servant, that are we walking the talk? Are our policy and programs really aligned towards sustainability? At times I have felt no. I'll give you an example. Let's say Haryana and Punjab. Today the two states which is facing the worst kind of a water crisis are Haryana and Punjab. We all know every year the water table is depleting. Once I remember I was with the earlier Chief Minister of Punjab, and he says in my village, earlier people used to get water at 15 feet. Now even at 500 feet water is not available. We had wrong impression. I was under the wrong impression that we keep digging below, the water, we'll keep finding the water. It's not so. The aquifers are going to get dry. But why? Why, let's say, Haryana and Punjab? I'll give you two examples only, and that too which relates to agriculture. Till 1980s, there was no paddy being grown in Punjab and Haryana. Now today, Haryana and Punjab are among the top 5 paddy growers. आपको याद होगा, wherever today also in Delhi or Punjab, people say मैं रोटी खा के आता हूँ. You go to Punjab and Odisha, people will say, my Odisha, which is my Kadar state, people say भात तो खाई के आउची, भात खा के आ रहा हूँ. Because we were growing, let's say, wheat in this region, and we were growing a paddy in the region which was really suitable for growing paddy. But today we don't grow crops as per the agroclimatic condition of that place. The state, which is one of the worst as far as the water scarcity is concerned, Maharashtra, grows maximum amount of sugar cane. And if you really see, the sugar cane, paddy and wheat altogether takes almost 85% of the total water consumed in the agriculture sector. अब क्यों ऐसा हो रहा है भाई? People say, no, farmers don't understand. Farmers should not be growing paddy. Farmers shouldn't be growing paddy. भाई, farmer will grow what is best for him. Does our policy, two policies, everybody talks of minimum support price is good. Farmers should get minimum support price. Procurement is good. But today minimum support price is declared for some 30 odd crops. But procurement takes place of 2 crops. Only paddy and wheat. Through Food Corporation of India or whatever sources you say, you procure only these 2 crops. And then, of course, sugar cane is purchased at fair remunerative prices by the mills. So, when farmers get a assured price, and every year there is an increase in minimum support price, plus most of the states governments also now compete in giving certain additional kind of a money towards the minimum support price fixed. And minimum support price in practice works only for 2 crops. The people will be bound to grow paddy and wheat, and with the kind of consequences which you see in Haryana and Punjab today. The other example I'll tell you, free electricity or highly subsidized electricity. ठीक है? As Honorable Ambassador said, agriculture is a very sensitive sector actually. And it's very difficult to talk of a kind of not giving subsidy or not giving free electricity. But Punjab, Haryana में क्या होता है? Farmers, at least in Punjab I know, farmers will put a motor on and he will go to sleep. Until morning, next morning, the water would keep kind of being pumped out. There are ways. Time is not there to say, but there are ways where you subsidize electricity, but you can at least economize or make it more efficient use of electricity the way you target the subsidy. Another example I'll give you. I remember about sustainability. Once I was in a meeting where number of cabinet ministers were there, number of secretaries were there, chief minister of a particular state was there. We were talking in terms of river rejuvenation. I was Director General National Mission for Clean Ganga, and so people are talking of river rejuvenation. Unfortunately, people do not understand what is required for river rejuvenation. For river rejuvenation, all this talk of only a sewage treatment plant or all that is secondary. What is more important is how much water is there in the river. River is that which flows. Something which doesn't flow is not a river. And why the water doesn't flow in the river? The way we harness, whether it's a groundwater or whether it is surface water, the way kind of we consume unmindful consumption of water that has led today the rivers to go dry. आप गंगा को ही देख लीजिए. When Ganga comes from Himalayas to Haridwar, Rishikesh, Haridwar we have a Bhimgora barrage where 75% water is taken. Thereafter you go to Bijnor, the Chaudhry Charan Singh barrage, water is being taken. Then you go further down and you will find at Narora, whatever water is left is taken away. So there is no water left in the dry season beyond Narora barrage actually. But as somebody will say, no, we need that water, we need to grow crops. But as I told you, do we need grow crops utilizing 2 to 3 times more water than actually it is needed? आजकल यमुना की बात हो रही है. Lot of talk going on. Even this government came, BJP government said, somebody even said that a previous chief minister lost because he has the curse of Yamuna or something. And whatever is being taught, now are you aware that lot of water come in Yamuna and there is a Vajirabad barrage. Some of you might have seen Vajirabad barrage. After Vajirabad barrage, there is no water in Yamuna for 8 months of the year. So whatever you do a sewage treatment, you do effluent treatment from the industry, but what you will get below Vajirabad barrage is basically treated or untreated sewage only because you don't have any fresh water. Solution to pollution is dilution. You need water. And again, I would say there is one talk of getting some water from the Ganga through a canal or something, but then nobody talks of utilizing efficiently the water which is being consumed in the fields of Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, which falls in the catchment area of Yamuna. Everybody talks of, I don't know how many of you know a term called water footprint. Everybody talks of carbon footprints. But hardly anybody in India talks of water footprints. If I ask someone that you had a morning cup of tea and what was the water footprint of morning cup of tea or morning cup of coffee, somebody will be surprised when somebody says that the water footprints of a morning cup of coffee is 140 liters. What is the water footprint of the cotton shirt I am wearing? What is the water footprint of shoes, the leather shoes I am wearing? What is the water footprint of growing a kg of paddies is there? Unfortunately, we don't talk of it. We don't talk of water busting. We don't talk of water security plan. I remember I had worked for almost 2 years to get a scheme approved called Atal Bhujal Yojana. That was basically on groundwater management through participative irrigation and emphasis on demand side management. Now groundwater is supposed to be a kind of a poor cousin of surface water because groundwater is not visible, surface water is visible. But the fact remains that India consumes more groundwater, extracts more groundwater than China and USA put together. Is that a sustainable level of consumption? But we don't talk of water busting, we don't talk of water security plan. I always, one of my favorite things used to be called something called a 5 R's. We all know 3 R. Reading, writing, arithmetic, right from the childhood we will learn. I said 4th R is recharge. आप धरती माँ को पानी पिलाओगे तो धरती माँ आपको पानी पिलाएगी. As simple as that. But unfortunately, we put in much less water than we extract from it. And the 5th R, which I always thought was very important, is respect. We lost respect to water. हमारे मंत्री जी थे तो हमारे मंत्री जी कहा करते थे उन दिनों के मंत्री कि भाई भारत एक ऐसा देश है जहाँ जल को जगदीश मानते हैं. तो जल को जगदीश मानने वाला देश आज जो है वो कहता है कि भाई पैसे को पानी की तरह बहा रहे हो, That means water is something is to be wasted and money is not something to be wasted. So what I was trying to say in brief is that still we have a long way to go. And there is no reason. I remember there was a Niti Aayog's report, a composite water management index or something, where they talk of that so many cities will run out of water. I personally feel that no city will run out of water in India, as long as we get more than 1,000 millimeter rainfall, provided we really consume water in a sustainable manner. So I will stop here because I know we are running very late. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to come and share some of my thoughts. Thank you very much.